Today I'm going to talk about what I think is one of the missing pieces in why people don't get consistent results with mewing. You might be asking, what's mewing? So mewing is an exercise that was come up with by Dr. Mike Mew, who's the son of John Mew, who are pretty famous dentists, orthodontists in the UK, who've been talking about the negatives of orthodontics for the last 20 to 40 years. And I really commend them on that. I think they've made a lot of progress, and this mewing has really taken a life of its own. You'll see billions of views on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. Mewing is a big part of this Looksmaxxing trend, which is more physical than functional. So typically Looksmaxxing, you see Gen Z doing this, and they're doing it to kind of make their profile and their face more defined, which I think some people are getting some results from mewing. So what is mewing? But basically you suck your tongue up to the roof of your mouth, and then you use the back of the tongue to kind of swallow, right? And this stretches some of the tissues in your mouth, and this constant exercise helps form, your face more, masculine if you're a guy, or it gives more definition and symmetry to your face, or at least it's supposed to, right? And this is something that I understand, because when mewing talks about doing this to your face, it's essentially addressing the same soft tissue that I talk about all the time in the blog. And me and mewing are essentially saying very similar things. I just think what they're doing is flawed because they don't quite understand how it works. And if you look at some of the forums, like on Facebook groups or on Reddit, you can go to the Orthotropics subreddit on Reddit, and you'll see that a lot of people are getting some results, or at least they think they are. They're posting before and after photos, but there's some people who are definitely saying that they're not, right? And these people are not, they're trying it for years. There's this one post on Reddit that I read where a guy did it for 5 years pretty consistently, and he concluded that it doesn't work on himself. So the question is, why are there a fair number of people that say that it doesn't work, but also a fair number of people that say that it does, right? It seems almost like a mystery, like it should either work or it doesn't. And I'm pretty sure I know why. So I talk a little bit about the fast approach, right? And the fast approach, you can think of it as a little bit like mewing, except there's some other things I do that break through the soft tissue quicker and make it, I think it's probably 10 or 20 times faster than mewing. Right. And I say that because I was checking results on a tracking splint. And the reason I'm confident that it's faster is because I consistently break through kind of the skin on my face and my scalp daily. Right. Like I think I did a little bit this morning, like things are a little bit red. By this evening, I'm going to do another hour or so, and I'll be flaking from the head because this just forces the skull to kind of pop right through the skin, and the skin breaks and starts shedding, right? And so I do this every day for almost 2 years, and I see how it is key to remodeling the skull, right? So I know what mewing is trying to do quite well, because it is more or less trying to achieve the same thing that I am achieving when I say I'm using this set of stretches to do the fast approach. Also, the difference between Reviv and mewing, I'd point out two main things. One is expectations. Like, I don't position Reviv to have this aesthetic effect as mewing does. I don't want it positioned that way, right? Right now, I position Reviv very much towards people that have health issues, people that have TMJ, brain fog, sleep issues, pain, right? And that's because I know that this process with the remodeling of your face that mewing tries to achieve takes a very long time. And therefore, is Reviv or the Reviv appliance key to achieving that? Yes, absolutely. And I would say it's far more effective than mewing. But I don't want to position it that way, because I know that there's very few people that are going to stick it out that long and have the kind of the drive to achieve that level of remodeling and what it takes to get there. The other thing is, and this gets to the flaw in mewing, is that mewing will only really work, in my view, if you're wearing a mouth guard like the Reviv. And I'll explain why. But basically, mewing will improve your curve of speed that I talk about. I've spoken about, I used to do these experiments with a tracking splint, and I would see that if I did yoga or I did my fast approach, and then I would make adjustments on this tracking splint, it would create more of a curve. So I'd be drilling on the front, right? If the splint started out flat, on the front, so there's more and more of a curve, right? And so if you did mewing and you're using this tracking splint, you would see that the exact same thing is happening. is that you're creating more of a curve. But the key is that if you just leave it like that and you sleep without wearing any appliance, this curve will then flatten and your contacts will be the same as they were in a day or two as before you did the mewing. I bet the only people that are getting results with mewing are people that either are wearing a rubber appliance. You got to remember that the Mewers also promote the Meyer brace. So the Meyer brace is designed very similarly to the Reviv One. They try to achieve the same things. So any kids, so especially kids, tend to wear the Meyer brace. So I bet kids that are doing mewing and wearing the Meyer brace are probably the ones that are getting the best results. And then you'll also have some people that maybe don't wear an appliance at night, but they're mewing so much that even though they're regressing when they're sleeping at night, like they're doing so much mewing that anyway they continue to make some progress. It's more like, I consider like blowing air into a balloon, but not like tying it off. Like every time you leave that open, air is going to come out. And the same thing is going to happen with mewing when you sleep without an appliance. This is a very important part, is that mewing will always work if you wear a rubber appliance at night. So mewing will accelerate the revive process, and absolutely everyone, in my view, who does mewing and wears a rubber guard like a Meyer brace or a Reviv One will make progress with mewing, because that is just how these biomechanics work. And in addition, anyone that's even getting some progress now with mewing but is not wearing a rubber appliance, if they wear a rubber appliance, they will see their progress with it accelerate rapidly. There's thousands of people that are doing mewing. That should come as pretty interesting news, because basically what I'm saying is that you're going to get a lot more results for your effort. Why is this the case? And this gets back to what I was saying before, is mewing increases the curve of spee. So like it lifts your back up off the lower jaw, and there's a little bit of an open posterior bite. And if you sleep with that, that flattens again, right? And then you're going to mew the next day and it's going to pick it up again. And then it's going to flatten. So like you're in a hamster wheel if you're not wearing any appliance. And this is why if you don't regress at night because you're wearing the rubber appliance, that prevents the curve from flattening. It just makes sense that, every picking up that you do, the next day when you pick it up again, you're going to pick it up further, right? And so your results are going to compound faster. A few last thoughts. I would say when I first found out about mewing and mic mewing and whatnot, like in 2015, it was not the social media trend that it is today. It's really blown up, and I think there's some good and bad sides to that. And I think it's an interesting kind of phenomenon that has really gotten people to pay attention to this area, which I think is a good thing. But I do find it strange that Mike Mew is preaching this mewing for about 15 years. And like for me, I knew this stuff back in 17, right? Like I knew the flaws in mewing, and I find it a little bit strange that, he never would check the dental contacts of when you're mewing and what happens, and be saying to everybody that you actually have to wear a rubber guard at night in order to reverse your progress. But in general, I would say that I encourage you, if you're mewing, I think it's a good thing. Just make sure you're wearing your rubber mouth guard.